Hi everyone. This vlog is going to revolve around body image and expectations of what our bodies should and shouldn't look like. And I kind of wanted to touch upon this one because I find that social media has kind of portrayed an unrealistic expectation of what your body should look like. And a lot of people compare themselves to what they see, on social media. Back when I was being raised and social media wasn't really a big thing, the dark ages years ago, we had magazines. And in those magazines, we'd look at different pictures of people and we compare ourselves to their bodies. And you'd grow up thinking, wow, I need bigger boobs, or, I need to be thinner. And so, you kind of get stuck in comparing yourself to others based on what you see, on TV, in films, on social media now. And it's becoming more apparent that it's having more of a negative impact on young people's perceptions of what they should look like. And every decade changes, decade when I was in high school, you had to be really, really, really skinny. And, then in the 2000s, the early 2000s, having big butts was great and being curvier was great and glorified. And now it's kind of like there's like that wave of what's acceptable and what's not. And if you don't look like what people are posting today, then you don't look good enough. And I want you to know that that's not okay. That's not okay that that's being, portrayed out there for young people to see and for people of any age to have to, associate with. The idea is you need to work on loving what you got. Love your own body. And if you are capable of achieving a body image that is feasible for you and healthy for you to achieve, go for it. So in my past, I have suffered from stages of, I guess body dysmorphia. It wasn't really talked about when I was younger. I was anorexic and I was bulimic and, through high school and a little bit of college. And, I found that my weight would fluctuate depending on where I was in life and what I was thinking or feeling in life and about myself. And, I'd go through phases of losing a lot of weight and still not feeling like I looked good enough. And then phases where I was heavier and I was okay with it because, I was okay with who I was as a person. So I guess what I want to make people aware of is, a lot of us battle self-image, having a body image that we fantasize about and comparing ourselves to what we really are. And we could be really down on ourselves. And so it's important to not compare yourself to others, which I know is really hard, especially since we're so connected to people on so many different platforms, but to take a step back and look at yourself and ask yourself, am I happy with how I feel? Am I happy with how I look? Are there things I could do to feel better about myself? Are there things I can do to make myself look better for myself? And then do those things. So another thing I'd like to bring up is the fact that it's okay to have a goal about how you want to look and feel. And it's okay if it takes some time to get there. Consistency is key. Taking one day at a time is more feasible for an individual than expecting yourself to be somewhere, in a week or 2 weeks or in a month. And I found for myself, the last time I was dieting, I was less hard on myself. I was less, I have to get here by this date or I failed at this. It was more, at the last time I decided to go on a diet, which really wasn't a diet. It was more of like that lifestyle choice to eat better and get in better shape, was because I was in fire school. I was in a fire academy. And I was the oldest one in, a classroom of 27 young males. And we're talking young, like they're 18, early 20s. And, at the time I'm in my later 30s. And so I was like, man, I have to keep up with these guys. I am absolutely going to do that, but I need to start like eating a little bit better, cutting out alcohol, and working out harder so that I can just be with them through it all and be successful at this. And that was my motivating factor. And I did. I was 168 pounds, which was really high for me. It was actually the heaviest I'd ever been in my life because I'm only 5'4". So if you look at, the medical scale of what your BMI should be and what your weight range should be based on your height, I was obese. Okay. So I made a goal that I was doing this so I can keep up in the fire academy with these young guys and do everything that they were doing successfully. And also because I wanted to start to feel better about myself and look better. COVID kind of made me fluffier than I've ever been, which was okay because, I went from being really, really active every single day to kind of being more sedentary. Opening up my own practice, you sit around a lot. And I was a volunteer at EMT for my local firehouse for the year and a half during COVID. And that was great because I was active, but I still wasn't as active as I used to be. I used to be a bartender. I used to be a manager of a restaurant. So I was constantly on my feet, constantly moving, getting, a minimum of 10,000 steps in a day to not getting a lot of steps in. So my motivating factor was to be able to excel in the fire academy and keep up with 18-year-old young males. And I started to, track what I was eating every single day. I use MyFitnessPal. It's free. It's wonderful. And through that, I had a goal where I was like, as long as I'm in the caloric range for healthy weight loss. So healthy weight loss to me would be, 2 pounds a week, 1 pound a week. That's okay for me. And as long as I wasn't feeling like I was depriving myself of anything, I would also allow myself to have, like a fun cheat meal, either on a Saturday or a Sunday night. And I looked forward to that cheat meal because it's like, all right, I don't have to really count the calorie today. I can just enjoy myself and know that no matter what, I still am focused on losing weight and getting in better shape. And I know I'll get there eventually. And it's okay if it's, a month from now or 2 months from now or 6 months from now, because eventually I know I'll get there. And so not having so much pressure on myself and being consistent with tracking and recognizing the foods that I was eating really helped to achieve my goal in a really nice, easy way for me. And so I went from, the 168 to, I think it was 6 months. It was probably 6 months. I eventually made it to 137, and that was during last summer. And it was great, and I felt great. And I still allowed myself to have fun and do things and go out with friends, but I was more conscious of what I was eating, and I recognized that when I was eating healthier, when I was being more active, when I wasn't, binge drinking, I felt really good. And I was able to compete with people and be right up in front with them. And I liked that. So I guess what I want to say is it's wonderful if you have a goal to get healthier so that you can feel better physically, mentally, and emotionally. And it's okay if you set a specific date for when you're going to achieve that goal because it keeps your eye on that goal. But it's also okay if you don't achieve it at that exact time. As long as you stay consistent and as long as you allow yourself to, even if you have a bad day or what people call I cheated, I ruined it. You didn't ruin it. You had a day that you weren't consistent. Okay, just be consistent the next day. You'll start to notice that your body will naturally start to shed the weight and you'll start to feel, more clear in your mind, and eventually you'll get to where you want to be. And that's okay. Just be careful that you don't, fantasize or make a goal based on what you see on social media. Because a lot of those stars, actors, actresses, models, those pictures that are posted are not raw material. They are photoshopped, they could be airbrushed, they are posing in a certain way. And I learned about the whole posing in a certain way through my own experience. I'm going to share this with you. I did a boudoir photo shoot. I was 25 when I did it. I'm probably going to want to do one again to see, like, you know, why not? It's a fun goal to have. But it was a boudoir photo shoot, so it means it was like a lingerie photo shoot. And I was really nervous to do because I'm not used to wearing stuff like that. You know, I was somebody that would go to the beach and I'd wear sweatpants to the beach or a t-shirt. Like, I never really wore bathing suits out there because, you know, I was more insecure about my body and I don't really like to show my body off like that. But the boudoir photo shoot, I did, and I wore lingerie, and, you know, the photographer made me pose in very uncomfortable positions and in ways that I would never think to pose, but it was to get certain angles to make you look better. So I would have never known that unless I had that experience, or unless, you know, a model comes out and says, like, oh yeah, by the way, I have to arch my back in a certain way to get this shot to make me look thinner, or to make my boobs look bigger, to make my butt stick out more, or to show my abs. I have to like suck it in and crunch and turn to the side. And so I want you to know that you may be comparing yourself to something that's not real. And so be careful with that, you know? Love your own body. Love who you are. Do things that make you feel good. And so be careful with the goals that you make. Make sure that they are realistic and not, you know, not this facade that famous people might put out there for others. And just make sure that you learn to just love you, because you're what you're carrying around all day, you know? It's just you against the world. So yeah, there's Callie again running behind me. Sorry, maybe I shouldn't be in the living room anymore. I don't know. Well, yeah, I probably shouldn't be in the living room anymore. Sorry if that's a distraction. Clearly I'm distracted by it. But the idea is, allow this year to be an opportunity for you to go after whatever it is you want to go after, and to change your life in positive ways. And if losing weight or gaining muscle or just becoming more fit or healthy are the goals that you have, don't worry about how other people are doing it. Just focus on what works for you and stay consistent with what works for you. Okay? Thank you.